Hello, this is Eric of Spark eStudio, and welcome to my review of the Miono PD300X. Now I'm going to compare this against the PD100X and the PD400X, and yes, I reviewed the PD200X. We're going to test the USB, XLR, mobile phone, and more. And do not miss, yes, I say do not skip the SPL test. It's the most important test in all my testing and tells you more than anything else. I promise you that. Now let's get started. Sparky Studio. Yeah. The Miono PD300X is a front address microphone, meaning you speak directly into the front of this capsule. That's where the microphone is, facing out this way. This is a dynamic microphone, which is really good for, say, podcast and for game streamers, and it rejects quite a bit of sound around it. This microphone is 24-bit, 192 kilohertz, giving it full studio quality, at least potentially, to get the best sound possible. Now let's continue on to what's included with this microphone. 5/8 mount in here, and included 5/8 to 3/8 insert, USB Type-C to the microphone with a USB Type-A rectangular port to USB Type-C on the other end. This USB cable is 150 centimeters long. Yes, it is a user manual. There we go. On the back side, we have a headphone out, USB Type-C as well as XLR connection type, giving it some definite compatibility, as well as a shock mount if you're using a mic arm to your desk. This, with a shock mount, is the type of microphone you want. But let's get past that and check out the audio right now. XLR is very limited. What do I mean by limited? Well, the mute button's not going to work, and none of the other functions on the microphone is going to work. It's all based on the audio interface. So USB is where it's kind of actually exciting. It has EQ software. We can change the tone of this microphone with 10 different steps of audio. I can connect to my mobile phone, and yes, I'm going to test that. SPL test. Right now, I have the microphone taken right down, so I can actually do this SPL test! Now let's go to USB after. After I do a noise rejection test. Mic test 1 2 3. Mic test 1 2 3. Mic test from the back 1 2 3. Mic test the front 1 2 3. Mic test the side again. Mic test the top of the mic. Mic test down below, just because I want to go with the flow, yo. Now we have a keyboard here. So for the gamer, let's hear the sounds. Noise gate off versus on. Noise gate is on. Noise gate is off. Now, let's switch to USB. Boom. Make sure you download Miono Link software.
Choosing to hold again, 'cause you are no fiend, but friend, finding it hard to believe.
Now, before you can use this microphone, at least for me, to USB, I had to update the firmware. That is why I had no audio, because I couldn't get audio until I updated the firmware. Right now we're looking at USB connection, and we can see these lights here to show where we are in terms of volume. Yellow means basically caution. If we hit red, it's going to be clipping, so we are at okay volume as it stands. Hello, 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 hello. Right now, I'm adjusting my volume for headphones. So it went quieter, quieter, quieter. Now I can't hear on the headphones. Press again. And of course, we can hear me touching the mic a lot more as I play around with the volume control right here. And of course, if I turn up the mic, we can hear more hiss. So you want to not have too high volumes. And let's see, once this volume level right there stabilizes, we can see where we are in terms of volume. And if I go too loud, let's go the other way. Let's go too loud so we can see if it's clipping or not. Hello. Hit the red. We don't want to do that. Let's try that. Mute. Unmute. And there we go. Let's try it one more time. That's the wrong one. Now let's try the denoise with the volume being proper levels for the microphone. I believe that's our denoise. And I love how quiet it sounds to the headphones. It sounds beautiful. I don't know how it sounds to the PC because you're hearing PC recorded audio. Let's press this again. And that looks like denoise off. Awesome. So this gives us an idea of the features when using USB. Let's go to the software on the PC. Right now we're listening to the PD300X microphone. Opening up the software, we can see the metering right here. If I press this, it mutes the microphone as we can see the audio. And there we go. And here we can record the audio. So this is actually recording my audio to WAV format. So if I press stop and I export, I can actually export my WAV format file, and it's set up by date right here. Now, I can also change the gain volume, and just like turning the volume knob, if I turn this up and let's not speak, we'll hear more hiss. And of course, that allows me to talk further away from the microphone, but it's simply changing the volume of the microphone. Here's our headphone volume, so if we're listening through our headphones. And right here's the monitor PC mic mix. I generally don't play with that. And right here, we can choose this multiplex option for the mute key. So if I hold down that mute key button, will it mute the headphones or PC monitor or the mic monitor or the noise gate? So this is what was originally set, noise gate. So if I hold down that button, do we notice? Okay, I'll just press that again. That's your denoise feature of this microphone. Let's go to scenes, and this is where we can choose our EQ. We've got flat, low cut, mid boost, so that's your vocal boosting. And we can actually add our own extra bass. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to add some more bass tone. I'm not even listening with headphones, so this is kind of ruining my ability to know what I'm doing. But you can hear it. Let's go right about there. Oh, here, I got the equalizer right there. There we go. Got some good old bass right there with a nice boost here in vocal tone. How am I coming through? I can't hear it. No headphones on, but this is just a test. Now let's exit out. See, I got a new one there versus flat. So we can make our own EQ. We can even add a compressor. And a compressor is meant so we don't clip. It will compress those peaks on here. And if I increase the compressor, it's going to actually crush down my volume levels. As we notice, my volume level went down. Limiter's a similar thing to compressor, but it limits as high as we can go. Like, so we limit the maximum high volume. Wow, that really affected that maximum high volume. Different purpose, but they both work in tangent together for making you not clip your audio. Pretty much concludes the software here. We can upgrade the firmware right there. And right here's my current firmware since I upgraded. If you want more of that, I don't know, old radio sound where we're like not getting those highs deep as much, and we are getting some highs in the vocal range so you can hear the vocals, but we don't have a deep tone to it. And right here we have a same sort of thing. And then there's gaming. But again, why do you want to drop off the low tones? I don't know. But hey, you decide what you want. I kind of like having low tones. Again, I don't have headphones on, so I can't hear if I went too aggressive or not. But yeah, let's go to flat again and then go back to our testing. Right now, you're listening to the headphone out on this microphone directly to the mic in on the camera. How am I coming through? Right now you are listening to the headphone ports out of this microphone. If I press mute, then you can hear me again. This is how the headphone sounds. I don't know how it sounds to you, but I guess we'll find out on playback. Yeah. One thing we must note is the fact the controls on the bottom. I can't see it from this type of posting right here. However, if I put this overhead, this will be completely different. Let's say I put this on a boom arm overhead and I have it facing down like this. I can now see the buttons. That's the way to go. Boom arm. That's what I'm going to do after this. Using my mobile phone, Miono Link software refuses to work. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to record with Open Camera and leave it at that. Open Camera, at least on Android mobile phone, is free on the Play Store. And this is how I'm going to record my audio with this microphone. Right now you're listening to the Miono PD300X connected to my mobile phone. And yes, we can normally see the volume, but again, this is the way it's mounted. Now, one thing I want to show here. Can we listen to that tapping? Okay. Now watch what happens to the tap on the top. Shock mount makes all the difference. Let's go closer. Do we notice? Shock mount, beautiful thing, especially if you have a boom arm. Yes, you want a shock mount, period, end of story. That's what I say. That's just proof of the pudding that I'm putting my face to the microphone and we're not hearing my mobile phone because my face is against this darn thing and not the mobile phone. So this is a test with the microphone. How am I coming through? Generally, any microphone, when you're further away, you thin out your sound. You generally want mics as close as possible to get the best audio quality possible. Do you hear that difference? I bet you do. Right now we're about 3 inches away or 10 centimeters. Right now we're 2 feet away or 60 centimeters. And right now we are 3 feet away, which is 90 centimeters. And right now we're 4 feet away or 120 centimeters away. This is a mic test, connected XLR. This is the PD300X, yeah. This is a mic test, connected XLR. This is the PD400X. And yes, there's a little clown nose for it. A little clown. A huge clown nose for it. And the one thing about the PD400X versus the 300X is it moves easy. The PD100X and the PD300X, I at least have to use a decent amount of force to move it out of place. How about competing microphones like the Fine AM8? Or the Fine Tank 3? Right now, we're listening to XLR connected to the PD100X, and this is how I sound right now. I think it sounds at least a lot more high. One thing I must note is the PD300X is the only one that has a shock mount out of these two microphone systems. Now let's go to USB. That's where things are going to be different between these three. Clearly between these three. This is a test of the PD100X, and you'll notice that the waveforms on the computer behind me is not even close to clipping. But if I shout at all, even though it's not clipping, it distorts when connected to USB, but not XLR. We are now listening to the PD400X with a clown nose. And did it clip? No, it didn't clip. So this suffers from part of the same problem as the PD100X, but not to the same degree. See if I can shout loud without distorting on the PD300X. After all this testing, one thing I can say for sure is the PD300X connected to USB, that's the one to get. Period. End of story, especially if you're going to shout at all. What are my overall thoughts on the PD300X? It's my number one recommendation at this time in its price range. This one has a shock mount. It stays in place. It works well with USB or XLR, but you might wonder why doesn't it sound the same as the microphone I'm using right now that costs 8 of these microphones. I could literally buy 8 of these for the price of the one that's above my head right now. This is the Rode NTG3. Why isn't there a profile for bass boosting? Miono? Why is there no preset? It's always lower the bass. It's something you can do, but something I should really point out. This is Eric of Sparky Studio. Thanks for watching and have yourselves a most wonderful day.